This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI, they already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
Hey folks, it's Mark Marin from WTF. Today I want to talk to you about Boost Mobile, offering reliable nationwide coverage backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Love your service or get your money back, no questions asked. Boost Mobile offers the coverage, network speed, and service you're used to, but at more affordable prices. Why pay more if you don't have to? You can get an unlimited plan for $25 a month that will never increase in price, ever. No price hikes, no multi-line requirements, no stress. Visit your nearest Boost Mobile store or find them online at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 per month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kilowatt, a podcast about electric vehicles, renewable energy, autonomous driving, and much, much more. My name is Bodie, and I am your host. And on today's episode, apparently my voice is going to go. It's given out. I don't know why. I guess that's just the way it's going to be. So hopefully my voice will last throughout the episode with any luck. So let's go ahead and jump into our EV news before the voice completely goes. Allison Sheridan sent this in, and she wrote a little blurb, which was really helpful. And to be honest with you, if you write a whole if you write the whole story that I can just read, more likely to get on the air. Anyway, thank you, Allison, for sending this in. Scientists in Finland have discovered that red onions might be the answer to vastly increase longevity of solar cells while retaining a high efficiency in energy production. By dyeing nanocellulose, which is wood pulp, with an extract from red onion skins, they're able to project longevity of solar cells to 8,500 hours, where current petroleum-based plastics are only 1,500 hours. So basically, and this is me talking now, this provides UV protection by blocking 99.9% of UV radiation up to 400 nanometers. Allison also wrote that this would make the cells biodegradable, which ultimately reduces waste. So that's fantastic. Acura has ended production of the Acura ZDX EV. I have a friend that has one of these vehicles, and let's just say he's used to owning luxury cars. He's had some nice ones in the past. He says the ZDX is just okay. He doesn't like the way it rides. He thinks the software sometimes is a little bit clunky. And you may be asking yourself, why is somebody who's used to driving around luxury vehicles riding in a vehicle that they weren't so hot on? It's pretty easy. He got an amazing lease deal, and he was like, it cost me less money to lease this car than it did just for the gas in my other car. So I think he's paying about $280 a month for the lease. So he just got a stupid cheap deal, and he's like, yeah, I'll give it a try. 2 years, I think, is what he's leasing it for. All right. From one Honda property to another, Honda really wants you to buy an electric Protege. Honda is currently offering $20,000 discounts on the Protege in some states, not in every state. So they're offering $17,000 off nationwide. They also have 0% interest financing for 6 years. They have some financing bonuses. If you buy before September 30th, you can take advantage of the $7,500 federal tax credit. If you're interested in this kind of thing, the ZDX and the Prologue are effectively the same car, which is effectively the Chevy Blazer. But if you're interested, go ahead and head over to your Honda dealer for more information because, like I said, all the states have different deals. And to go through all of those would just be mind-numbing. NIO's Onvo brand just launched the L60 at a lower price than expected. The L60 is similar to the Model Y. You can pick an L60 up if you're in China for $21,000 US if you buy the battery service plan. I couldn't find what the battery service plan would actually cost you each month, but NIO vehicles have swappable batteries, so you'd be able to basically, instead of charging your battery up, you can just go into a little car barn and it would swap your battery out. You can still do that if you don't subscribe, but that's going to cost you $29,000, and NIO will give you a certain amount of battery swaps for free, and then after that, you got to pay for them. Let's see. Ford has released its Blue Cruise 1.4 update for the F-150 Lightning, and this brings some major improvements to hands-free driving. According to the company, drivers can now stay in hands-free mode up to 8 times longer than the original version and 5 times longer compared to version 1.2, which is the previous version. The update also improves lane centering by reducing the side-to-side movement by nearly 80% and adds features like in-lane repositioning and lane change assist. This rollout covers 2022 through 2024 Lightning models, and some of the 2025 Lightning vehicles are being delivered with the software pre-installed. Tesla OG co-founder Mark Tarpenning was part of a $20 million investment in the EV truck startup Tello. Now, if you've not heard of Tello, it's this really cool idea for a pickup truck. It's a roomy, practical pickup truck that roughly has the same footprint of a Mini Cooper. It seats 5 people. It has a 5-foot bed that can extend to 8 feet if you fold the midgate down into the cab. It's all-wheel drive, and they say it's going to have up to 350 miles of range. We'll see. But overall, I think the idea of this truck is amazing. And while honestly $20 million won't get you very far in the actual production when it comes to making these vehicles, this is a big step for them, hopefully on to bigger and better things and more investment dollars so that they can actually bring this to production. But it's good to hear. I actually interviewed Jason Marks and Forrest North, who are the co-founders of Tello. If you want to hear that interview, I put a link to the interview in the show notes. Oh, and Tello has right around 12,000 pre-orders.
Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/ACAST today.
This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI. They already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
Last lap alert, the Daily Tech Showcase roars into Richmond Raceway, October 14th. And the biggest names in tech are in the driver's seat. Apple, AWS, Meta. It's the main event for education, government, healthcare, manufacturing, and enterprise leaders ready to hit the gas on innovation. Time's running out. Claim one of the last few spots at daily.com/VA25 before the checkered flag waves.
Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it easy. Fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, and convenient installation options. Go to TireRack.com to see tire test results, tire ratings, and consumer reviews, and be sure to check out all the special offers. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
All right, everybody, that is it for our EV news. Let's go ahead and roll into our Tesla news. If you have a Tesla in need of repair and you have an iOS device, then I have good news for you. You can now check the status of your service in the live activities section on your phone. This is at the top of the screen if you're not familiar. If you have I think it's iOS 14 and higher phone. But it sits in that dynamic island and it just kind of acts as a status bar. So I guess Android's getting something similar at some point, but super cool if you just want to check on the status of your service. I actually went into Tesla recently. It was like a week ago. And I had them inspect my windshield so that I could buy their windshield warranty. And I'm not sure if I had this specific thing, but in my dynamic island, I had little updates on what was going on. So pretty cool. I don't go to the Tesla service center very often. I will say every time I have gone, the one that I go to, which is on University in Tempe, they've always been great and really easy to deal with. Like they've taken care of all of the issues that I've had. So no complaints with the folks at that Tesla service center. Again, it sounds like Android's going to get something similar. You just got to wait a little bit longer. And by the way, they passed my windshield, which was nice of them. I can now pay them $12 a month to insure my windshield against cracks, which is honestly cheaper than my insurance. So I'm happy to do that. According to Wolf Research, Tesla's Q3 2025 deliveries could be between 465,000 and 470,000 vehicles. This would be a 22% increase from Q2, and around 170,000 of those vehicles would come from China, or actually would be delivered in China. Deutsche Bank is estimating that Tesla will deliver around 72,000 vehicles in China just in the month of September, which is amazing. That seems like a lot. But you can't have good news without bad news. I want to thank Mark for passing this along. Germany's EV market hit a 30.6% share of new car sales in August, which is great. The mix looks like this: 19% full electric vehicles, 11.6% plug-in hybrid. Volkswagen is still leading the pack in Europe with the ID3 and the ID4 topping the charts, as they say. And it looks like Citroen's EC3 and Leap Motors T03 are also kind of making some headway in Germany. But the real headline here is that the Tesla Model Y sales in Germany are down to about a third of what they were last year, which drops Tesla from 6th place to 8th place. Vehicles like BMW, Mercedes, and Ford are all gaining ground in Germany, but Tesla losing a little bit of ground. And they're losing ground not just in Germany, but all of Europe. So it's not awful news. Tesla used to be dominant in Europe. It's slipping a little bit. The Model Y is still the best-selling EV so far this year with 83,000 units sold. The Model 3 is in third place, but both vehicles are down 34 and 29% year over year. So the big picture on this is that Europe, the EV market in Europe is going strong. Tesla has some opportunities in that market, but they're still doing pretty well. All right, that leads us to our final bit of this episode. And I have 5 pages of notes, and for some reason, I've been able to get through this entire episode in 11 minutes. I'm not really sure why. Anyway, it is what it is. All right, in our last little bit of this segment, I want to just say I was wrong. Last episode, I said that there was not a mechanical release for the rear door on my Tesla. It was only the electronic release. I was wrong. We had a helpful community member, we'll just call him the Lone Ranger. They sent along this email. I wanted to let you know, as well as your audience, that every Tesla that has ever been made has an emergency mechanical release in the back of the car. For the Model Y, it's either accessible through the bottom or side of the door panel in the rear doors. At least that's for most models. I think there may have been some years where it's actually behind the door panel, which is indeed a terrible idea. But I'd need to double check that, as there may be an access point. One bonus to these emergency releases is that they override the child safety locks, which most mechanical mechanisms don't have an override that I'm aware of. I believe that this may be part of the logic of why they were able to forego a mechanical release mechanism. The newer the Model Y, or 3, I guess, the newer the Model 3 or Y, the more accessible the emergency release cable is in the back doors. In the early models, there was no way you would know without reading the manual because there was nothing to mark them, which I think is a terrible idea. I understand that manufacturers want to maintain a premium feel, but if it was up to me, I would voluntarily put a big, obnoxious or a big, obvious label on the manual releases and trade off the unsightly icons for something very noticeable so occupants don't have to read the manual. Now, in the last episode, I mentioned that Tesla was going to do a redesign of the door handles and the latching mechanism and all that stuff. And one of the things that I had thought would be a reasonable idea is the button that you have that you push to open up the door inside the car. If you push that button down halfway, it uses those electrical locking and unlocking latching mechanisms. And if you push it down all of the way, then it uses the mechanical unlocking mechanisms. I'm blinking. It's past midnight here. My voice is going, I'm not doing well. Anyway, the point is, there might be a dual function button. So the Lone Ranger went on to say this: Legacy Model S, which is the older Model S with the portrait center screen, actually has that dual function handle design. The first 33% pull on the door release activates the electronic release, and the final 66% begins to pull on the physical cable. This is another example where if it was up to me, I would have kept that design. I actually think that's a really cool idea. He goes on to give some suggestions on how they might improve that. But overall, I want to say thank you, Lone Ranger. I appreciate the assist on this for sure. We got about 5 minutes left. You know what new toy I got recently? I told you, I think I've told everybody, that my garage door broke. When I say broke, the spring broke. My garage doors are very heavy, and they're made of wood. So when one spring breaks, I have 2 springs. When one spring breaks, that makes it very difficult to lift up the door. I can't imagine if the second spring had broken, what that would be like. Anyway, when this happened, my wife was trying to get into the garage, and I heard a very loud noise coming from the garage. And so I went out there. Everything looked normal. I went back inside. My wife texted me and she said, "Can you open the garage door? It's not opening." And I was like, okay, I know what that noise was. We damaged a spring. We broke a spring. So I went out there, sure enough, broke the spring. My car was stuck inside the garage, so I had to open it up and take my car out, and probably gave myself a hernia doing that. It was, again, heavy door. But for whatever reason, after the spring broke, my garage door opener would not operate correctly. So I had to buy a new garage door opener. I also bought a new garage door, by the way, because the doors are 40 years old and they're falling apart. But anyway, the garage door opener is a Chamberlain with MyQ. And I bought it with MyQ because I want the Teslas are compatible with MyQ. So you can open and close your garage door on your Tesla screen. And I just wanted to be bougie. So I got the Chamberlain. I paid, I think it was like $45 for the year to be able to do this. And I cannot be more tickled that my car does this, because I have it set to the perfect distance from my garage door. The car automatically sends the signal to open up the garage door, and I'm able to just drive in. When I'm leaving my driveway, it closes automatically. I don't have to do anything. One of the cool things is if I'm like, oh, I can't remember if the garage door closed or not, I can look at it in the Tesla settings. And it's a small thing, but it tickles me every single time I just pull into the driveway and just pull in straight into the garage. It just makes my heart full of happiness. So, all right, everybody. I'm not 100%. I'm fairly certain this episode is garbage. I can't think. Like, my voice is going. It's midnight. I've been busy all day. I'm on the verge of tears, folks. I don't know that this was my best episode. We'll see. We'll see. At the light, what time is it? 12:40 on Thursday the 25th. I'm going to call this one of my worst episodes I've ever recorded. So, yeah. I hope y'all had a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon, as long as you let me back in to the podcast. All right, everybody, thanks so much, and I will talk to you soon.
Hey folks, it's Mark Marin from WTF. Today I want to talk to you about Boost Mobile, offering reliable nationwide coverage backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Love your service or get your money back, no questions asked. Boost Mobile offers the coverage, network speed, and service you're used to, but at more affordable prices. Why pay more if you don't have to? You can get an unlimited plan for $25 a month that will never increase in price, ever. No price hikes, no multi-line requirements, no stress. Visit your nearest Boost Mobile store or find them online at boostmobile.com. After 30 gigabytes, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 per month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan.
This episode is brought to you by Capital One. Capital One's tech team isn't just talking about multi-agentic AI. They already deployed one. It's called Chat Concierge, and it's simplifying car shopping. Using self-reflection and layered reasoning with live API checks, it doesn't just help buyers find a car they love. It helps schedule a test drive, get pre-approved for financing, and estimate trade-in value. Advanced, intuitive, and deployed. That's how they stack. That's technology at Capital One.
At Capella University, learning online doesn't mean learning alone. You'll get support from people who care about your success, like your enrollment specialist who gets to know you and the goals you'd like to achieve. You'll also get a designated academic coach who's with you throughout your entire program. Plus, career coaches are available to help you navigate your professional goals. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.